Ever feel like, some choices you make are just, I don't know, in the face of overwhelming futility?
Like, what's the point?
Yeah, like why even bother fighting when the odds are so stacked against you? And that's kind of where we're diving in today with Hamura Akemi from Madoka Magica.
Oh, heavy stuff.
Right. Specifically, we're looking at episode 10, the one that really throws you for a loop.
It makes you really confront those tough questions about her actions. Why does she do what she does?
Exactly. And we're going to unpack all of that through this really interesting video essay that connects Homura's struggles back to Simone de Beauvoir's The Ethics of Ambiguity.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Right. It's a fascinating philosophical lens to examine her character through. And we've got excerpts from that essay to help guide our deep dive today.
Love it. So the essay poses this question. Can we really condemn Homura for the choices she makes, given her, let's be honest, pretty impossible situation? Like de Beauvoir writes, the present is not a potential past. It is the moment of choice and action. How much agency does Homura actually have?
Right. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's easy to judge her actions, especially as the series progresses, but to really understand her, I think we have to go back to the very beginning.
Back to before the time loops even start.
Exactly. Her first experience with this whole magical girl life.
Okay, so we're talking that classic magical girl setup, at least at first. We're introduced to Homura, and she's incredibly shy, this withdrawn girl, suddenly thrown into this magical conflict. And then she witnesses the tragic fates of both Mami and Madoka. Talk about high stakes.
And you know what's super interesting about this first timeline? It's important to remember neither Mami nor Madoka transform into witches.
Oh, you're right.
They die fighting for what they believe in, and their sacrifice, it's not yet tainted by, all the later revelations about Kyubey.
It makes their deaths hit even harder.
Yeah.
There's a sort of pure heroism there that contrasts so sharply with the despair that comes later. And this is where things really take a turn, because this tragedy, it becomes the catalyst for Homura's big decision,
Her wish.
the one that sets everything in motion.
Exactly. She tells Kyubey, I do not want to be protected by her, but become someone who protects her.
And the essay points out this subtle difference in the English translation, right?
Yeah.
Where they add the word strength.
Oh, interesting.
It seems like a small change, but it really highlights something about Homura's mindset. She doesn't just want to save Madoka. She wants to be someone worthy of saving her.
So there's this deep insecurity there, this feeling of inadequacy that's driving her.
Absolutely. It's not just about Madoka's safety anymore. It's about Homura proving her own worth, which sadly gets all tangled up in this repeating cycle of timelines.
And that's where we get into timelines 2 through 4, and things just escalate, like rapidly. Each loop, Homura is taking more and more drastic measures.
Bombs, guns. I mean, she is not messing around.
Anything to gain some control over this situation. And what's so fascinating is that the essay points out how the creators made this deliberate choice. We never actually see what causes Madoka to fall into despair in these timelines. It's like we're experiencing this escalating despair right alongside Homura with each failed attempt, but Madoka's side of things remains this mystery. It's like we're forced to see things through Homura's eyes, and we're stuck right there with her. And the tragic irony of it all, it's like all of Homura's interference, it's almost like it pushes Madoka further down that dark path instead of pulling her away from it. So she keeps trying, but it's like, why does she feel like she has to carry this burden all by herself?
It's a great question, and the essay makes this really interesting connection between Homura and, get this, Faust.
Faust, like the deal with the devil, Faust.
The one and only. And there's this parallel the essay draws between them, this kind of fatal flaw they both share. This need, this really powerful desire for control.
So we're talking like playing God with fate.
Exactly. And it blinds them both. Faust is so obsessed with knowledge, and Homura, well, she fixates on controlling fate, on fixing everything herself. They both end up causing a lot of pain for the people they care about most. Like poor Gretchen, caught in the middle of Faust's mess. You almost see her in Madoka, right?
Oh, totally. It's heartbreaking. They're both these innocent souls kind of having their agency taken away.
Exactly. And then there's this quote about Faust, how he loved in order to have loved. And the essay uses this to look at Homura's feelings. It's deep. Is she really seeing Madoka for who she is, or is it more like clinging to this perfect image of their relationship?
Man, that's rough.
It's the heart of it all, right? It's not just about loving someone, it's about how you love them. Madoka, she just has this pure giving love. She cares about everyone, embraces everything, even the painful stuff. Homura, she connects love with possession. with control.
It's like by trying to fix Madoka's destiny, she's actually taking away the very thing that makes Madoka so special,
Yeah.
that ability to connect, to experience life on her own terms.
Tragic, right? The more she isolates herself, the further she pushes away the one person who could actually help her break free. Remember that moment in Timeline 4 when she just breaks down? She says, I won't rely on anyone anymore.
Oh, man.
Heavy stuff, right? It's like she's given up on the idea of connection, shut down any chance of sharing this burden.
And that's the tragedy. She's so focused on protecting Madoka that she forgets about protecting herself.
Totally. And the essay makes this point about how different they are. You know, Madoka finds strength in other people, even in the face of all that darkness. There's this quote that sums it up. Homura loves the idea of having someone to love. She does not love the moments and the experiences that she undergoes. That is the lesson she learns from Madoka.
And it's not just what's going on inside. You know, it's like even the music hammers this home. The essay talks about how episode 10 ends and boom, Connect starts playing.
You know, I never really thought about it like that.
It's the opening theme. But after everything we just saw with Homura and like her timelines falling apart, it just hits differently, you know?
Well, yeah. The lyrics, too, it's almost like they were written for both of them. The whole thing about finding your path, holding on to hope when things are grim, it's Homura now, too.
Totally. And visually, like even the animation for the opening, it takes on this whole other meaning. Especially, have you seen that fan-made thing where they swap Madoka and Homura?
Oh, yeah. It's wild how well it works.
That's like, bam, they're two sides of the same coin, you know?
And they both want to make things better, but such different ways of going about it.
For sure. Madoka, she just dives into connections, right? Other people making those bonds even when things are scary. It's like she gets that. Even if it hurts, sharing those experiences matters.
But Homura, she's convinced she has to do it all alone, that nobody else can get it. And that's the core of it all, you know? Beyond all the magical girl stuff, the time loops, the show's really saying something about doing things, finding meaning by actually engaging with the world, with other people. There's this quote, let me find it. The show has, from its first shot, asked you to keep the plot specifics at length, and instead, just take this one message away. Act. Do. Be someone. Because in that struggle, you will find yourself.
Damn, it's like, it's calling us out, too, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
Not just watching these characters, but thinking about our own lives.
Yeah, like, what are you doing?
Exactly. And we're not supposed to just judge Homura, right? She makes bad choices, sure. But when you get why she's so messed up, where that's coming from, you can have empathy for her, even when she screws up.
So, wrapping up, it's a lot to process, right? Like, if being alone is what destroys her, could she have found a different way, broken the cycle by letting others help?
Big questions, right? Could Madoka have even made those choices without Homura constantly interfering?
See, that's what makes a story stick with you, when it keeps you thinking even after it's over. It makes you look inward a bit.
Totally. Makes you think about how you connect, how much empathy you have, and maybe, just maybe, it'll make us reach out instead of always facing our own battles alone.
Because sometimes, even magical girls need a helping hand, right?
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I have honestly no idea how impressive or useful you found that. I myself was quite shocked. That obviously, I guess you figured it out, you probably did, was a re-encapsulation summary delivered in a two-person podcast form of my 2021 Madoka Magica breakdown of episode 10. My workflow for creating the video was to have the AI transcribe my YouTube video to a text file, upload that text file as a source in Google's Notebook, a not very publicized AI tool, and then have the Notebook feature create a podcast based on the script of my video. I had no input on anything, what it would choose. I did not direct it in any way. And I was beyond shocked at how well it managed to cut out all the flaff. If you've seen that video, and if you haven't, please go back and watch it. There's a playlist on my channel of all my Madoka Magica videos. But if you've seen that video, you know how tangential I get, how much nonsense fluff there is in a lot of that, or kind of winding ideas that I go down. But to cut through all of that and pick out the most relevant pieces, my general ideas about Simone de Beauvoir were maintained, the ideas about Homura and her quest for agency, just recapsulating all the really good, important points and my takes on things, and putting that together in 8.5 minutes. There was never any doubt in my mind about the efficacy of parsing information using artificial intelligence or LLMs, but I think that we're well and truly in the uncanny valley when I can just pop my text file in there and listen to a podcast recite all my ideas back to me in a much cleaner and digestible form. It's kind of like that first image creation moment of actually making something that looks halfway decent using some AI art generator and thinking, oh boy. And then having that feeling of, oh, everything's going to change. For me, it hit me just like that. The technology already exists for it to mimic my writing style and my speaking style, come up with novel ideas or interesting takes. So, how far away are we from you not even realizing that I've been an AI the entire time? Oh my god. Alright, see you for the next video. We got a good one coming.